Hey guys, what's up? So, before I get into the video, which is, I just got to make a quick announcement, a real quick thing, which is why you're seeing this before the really poor old school style intro that I usually do for my videos. But I need your guys' help. Like nothing major, but it's kind of look. I'm moving again, but not to another state or trying to move to Canada. The Canada thing's way later, but. Like, I'm just moving to a different apartment, or at least I'm trying to move to a different apartment, because this place is way too small, and I've been hunting for another place for months now. And it's looking like something may finally happen, but there's all these costs, and then, of course, the deposit, and all this other type of stuff to move everything out, and it's just, so, basically, no, I'm not asking you guys to dump extra money my way, though, of course, if you like the videos I'm doing, I have a Patreon for a reason. Though, I mean, of course, I need to put more freaking videos out. But there is actually one other thing. Just hold on for a second. See, remember, I'm into swords. That's, that's my thing, though. It's mostly the Chinese weaponry, but I like weaponry, period. And as sad as it's going to make me, I'm willing to part with this one. I've had this one in my collection for some time now. It hasn't been mistreated. I mean, I've barely use it except for a couple of test cutting here and there, but it's fine. Nothing shaking, nothing rattling. I've been keeping the blade oiled. I, tend to, I maintain my blades every month pretty much. Just a quick maintenance. Blade is fine. Folded steel. Like, if you want more details, I'll let you know. This particular piece, when I first got it, it was going for $460 freaking dollars. I'm not asking for that because it's been in my possession for some time, and even though it's just been sitting, somewhere not being touched, and it's pretty much still practically brand new, no, I'm not charging, no. Like, I'm willing to part with it for around $375 to $400, around that. Best price, anybody is interested. I'm asking you guys right now, and if you guys aren't interested, then I'll just simply put it up on eBay. But that's pretty much the asking price I'm asking for. So if you're interested in this little piece over here, yes, it's, folded steel. Yes, it's been differentially hardened. Yes, it has a real hamon. Yes, it has a razor sharp edge. It's, it's very well crafted, leather wrapping, all that good stuff. Interested? Let me know. I'll try to get it out to you. We'll arrange something. But yeah, getting rid of this, as sad as it's going to make me, because this is actually a pretty nice katana. It's going to help with the bills. So, yeah, we'll end the part with this sucker. Now let's get on with the video. Hey guys, what's up? So, this video was actually supposed to have been out 2 weeks ago. Yeah. There's a lot going on. If you saw the intro before, the little bit I put in before this, you kind of know part of what's going on. But also, again, it's work. I've been doing a little bit of overtime and also a lot of errands and stuff, and I've been barely getting any rest. And then the few times I'm resting, I just feel dead. And sheesh, I still got a lot to do this weekend. This weekend, I got the whole Kung Fu demonstration. Anyway, I still need to get caught up in doing videos. I am way behind on stuff I wanted to do, so I was going to spit this one out. And this one was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago. And even though this video was going to come out 2 weeks ago, it's still late. And if you look at the topic, you may already know why I'm saying it's still late, because, well, we're talking about For Honor, which is a game that came out a long time ago. And the thing that I'm actually commenting on in the game happened a month ago. But, okay, For Honor is one of those games, and if you've not heard of For Honor, I'd actually be kind of surprised considering the people who've been coming to my channel, and I would think this would be, your thing. But For Honor is basically a game where they took the old nerdy / high school argument of who's better, Vikings or Knights or Samurai, and just made a game out of it. They came up with this hackneyed, crazy plot reason for why these different groups would suddenly be in this dimension slaughtering the hell out of one another, and it's just basically a game designed for people to, play out their fantasies of, these medieval warriors going at it, Samurai versus Knights, Knights versus Vikings, whatever, So, I've heard of the game. I've known the game was out there for some time, and I was interested in playing it, but not so interested that I just had to rush out to get it. I mean, I had other games that were eating up a huge chunk of my time. So, you know, and you know, other games as well besides that. But you know, between that and work and my other responsibilities, you know, family, things like that, I just didn't really have the focus. But then fairly recently, Ubisoft threw in a new faction, the Wu Lin, and that have obviously caught my interest because, you know, guys know I'm into Chinese martial arts, and it was one of the things that I was saying when the game first came out. You know, if they put any DLC, are they going to put any Chinese fighters in there? Like, that was actually something that I asked, you know, not really out loud to Ubisoft or anyone in particular, just, you know, just saying, and they did. So when I saw how, you know, the characters that they were coming out with, the different classes, you know, you can choose from in the Chinese faction, I right away had thoughts. And I was already planning on doing a video on that, but then I'm like, well, one of the major nitpicks I was going to have actually turned out not to be true. So then I ended up like, because at first, the very first rumor, little bit of news I heard was that these guys were supposed to be based on warriors, you know, Chinese fighters from the, you know, Romance from the Three Kingdoms period, you know, the Warring States period of China, you know, right after the fall of the Han Dynasty, that time period, which is a particularly kind of like famous period of warfare in China. I heard, you know, I read somewhere that the warriors were supposed to be based on fighters from that time period, and I took one look and the blood pressure just started rising up. I'm like, hell no, there's so much wrong with this. And then later on I read other stuff and realized that wasn't true, and the little nitpicks I had, I'm like, okay, I can let this go, whatever, and I just let it slide. And then I saw Metatron's video, and that's when I'm like, okay, you know what, maybe I should put a video out. Now, before I go on, let me say this. There's really nothing wrong with this video. So if you're thinking I'm putting up my video because he's wrong, no. His video was it was pretty good, and it was fairly decently researched, and he pointed out some really good things there. The only reason why I'm putting my 2 cents in is I felt that there were a couple of details that he either missed or didn't know about. It's, again, what he presented is not false information. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, I'm not going to be disparaging his stuff. He puts out videos better than mine. There's a reason why his channel is so good. But I'm just saying that there's some extra things that I felt that I would just add in case you guys are curious. And I'm just, you know, you guys meaning my particular audience. And this is not a grab to try to grab his audience to mine because that would scare the hell out of me. But this is just some stuff that I've noted about the characters, and I'm just going to go through each one as quickly as possible. Well, we know me and how verbose I can get, but I'm going to try not to make this go too long. It's gone long enough already, so here we go. First of all, the name of the group, the Wu Lin, I like that name. He already went into that, you know, and what it means, and you know, the Wu Lin basically a general term for warriors, or particularly it's also a romantic term used for, you know, martial artists, you know, kind of like the knights errant type of person, you know, wandering from place to place, getting into adventures, or a particular noble sect of fighters and martial artists. It works. I like it. The thing, though, is like each of the classes, overall, nothing wrong with them per se from an overall standpoint. But when you actually start really looking into what these characters are supposed to represent, that's where the nitpicking can start. So we're going to start with the Jiangjun, or the general. Let's just get this out the way. He's obviously a stand-in for Guan Yu. The flowing beard, the green robes, the freaking Guandao. He's Guan Yu. Let's not just... Yeah, that's what he is. I got no problem with that. You know, Guan Yu's pretty cool. You know, he was a real dude. He got a reputation for being a very loyal general for Liu Bei, and I'm probably just butchering these names. I'm sorry, but you know, he was, you know, well known for his sense of honor, his loyalty, his prowess on the battlefield. There is a reason why he's been revered as a god after he died for many years afterwards. There's a reason why you see statues of him put up on shrines, why you see, you know, scrolls of, you know, scroll paintings of him. Like, he has a well-earned reputation. So to see a version of him, which is really what this is, I know they're calling it, you know, he's the general character class. It's Guan Yu. To see him in the game is cool, and I got no problem with that. However, they got a few things wrong. And I can't really blame Ubisoft for getting this wrong because it's the type of stuff that just about everybody gets wrong. First off, the weapon. This is the one thing that everyone gets wrong. And I can't blame them because it's how he's presented. He has his famous weapon, the Guandao. There's another name for it, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I'll have it, you know, the text should pop up right now with the other more official name of the weapon. But that weapon, that crescent moon blade, the long pole arm of his, he never used it. The weapon did not exist during the time period that he was in. Remember, he was fighting during the Warring States period of China. There were no Guandao. Sorry. In fact, the Dao itself was only just introduced in China as a warfare weapon at the time period. Before that, they were using Tian as, you know, as their swords. Now, granted, you're going to be saying, well, he's not using a sword per se, he's using a polearm. And that's true, but even if you want to split those hairs, if you want to go, you know, like it's not a Dao, it's like, okay, yeah, fine, it's a polearm, even though they call it a Dao. But even among polearms, they didn't use that type of weapon. That single-edged, you know, heavy-backed curved weapon was not in existence during that time period. Some historians have stated that the weapon he most likely used was a shuo, which is a type of war spear used at that time period with a, you know, a longer, you know, spear point. But it wasn't the Guandao. It wasn't this, you know, single-edged, curved, bladed, long-poled weapon. The reason why we have that image of him is because that's how he's portrayed in the famous novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which was written in the Ming Dynasty, many centuries after the time period which he lived in. In fact, a lot of what you see about, like, the image you have in your head, you know, with the green robes and the particular, especially the armor, we're going to be getting back to that, but particularly the armor he's wearing, you know, and the way he's wearing his robes and the weapon and how proud he is, are all, you know, representative of how he was portrayed in that novel in the Ming Dynasty. So he has these, like, Ming Dynasty accoutrements and their ideas of what he must have been like. But yeah, it's a later portrayal of this ancient character. So yeah, that's really, those are the only real nitpick I have of that. And I can't blame Ubisoft for that because even the Chinese get it wrong all the time. He never used the weapon. It's funny, they named the weapon after him, but he never used that weapon. Still, it would be kind of cool to see how he uses it in the game. So now next, we have the Tiandi. Now, I know Metatron was trying to figure out what the name could mean. I know very basically, depending on the character, you can just get heaven and earth. And maybe that's supposed to be what the name means. I personally don't know. Though I'm thinking that it might be a different set of characters that they're using. It might mean more predator or like dangerous warrior or something. Because I know depending on the characters, you can either get heaven and earth, or you might also get predator or natural enemy. So I'm thinking that that's more along the lines of what they were trying to go for with this dude. With this class, really, the Tiandi. Either way, he's obviously supposed to be the standard battlefield warrior. You know, he's got the armor, he's got the sword, he's got the really cool moves. Great, right? What could possibly be wrong with this guy that I'd have to nitpick? Well, now, the more of a nitpick I have is on the weapon he's using. But even that one I'm going to have to curtail. Because at first blush, when I first looked at the sword, I thought that sword was an oxtail dao. You know, more known as an Yue dao, which is the typical kung fu sword that people, you know, associate kung fu fighters with. They always have that, they always, you know, give them that, you know, that wide-bladed saber that you see in so many kung fu movies and, you know, other forms of media. And I was at first thinking that that's the weapon they also gave this dude, and that started making me grind my teeth because that weapon was never used on the battlefield. In fact, that weapon was never even used in any of the dynasties that I've mentioned so far. The Yue Dao showed up during the latter half of the Qing dynasty, and it showed up as a civilian's weapon. So it's not a battlefield weapon at all. So when I first saw it, I was just like, don't fucking tell me they did the same freaking mistake that I see everybody else make. And then I looked closer at it, and I noticed that it was a bit bigger, and he at times used it with two hands, and the handle was long enough to use for two hands. So that started making me think, okay, maybe this is more of a Dao Dao. which is just a general term for big saber. And you see those used from, I kind of want to say, I was gonna say Tang Dynasty, but you don't really see them during the Tang Dynasty. You see them more using more used in the Song Dynasty. The point I'm trying to make is the Dadao is a big chopping weapon, and you see that used like from the Sui Dynasty all the way through. Even during World War II, you see versions of this weapon used by troops, and that does seem to be a little bit more in line with, you know, the movements the guy is using in the game. Though of course you can't really. That's not the best way to, you know, to figure out what weapon they're using, because people can put the wrong movements in weapons all the time. But from the look of the weapon, the fact that you can use it in two hands as well as one, and the fact that a different version I've seen of a weapon that they're planning to use in game has the clipped point rather than the more fancier looking point that they put in there, is making me think that this is supposed to be more of a Dado. And if that's the case, then okay, there's nothing really wrong with the weapon other than I think that the handguard they use is a little too modern for the time period that this guy is supposedly supposed to represent. But there you go. You know, that's there's a possible anachronisms going on here, but not too much. Then we have the Shaolin. And I basically got no problems with this class. Now some of you guys might be thinking, wait a minute, you don't have a problem with the way the Shaolin guy is being represented in this game? He's going around slaughtering dudes in the battlefield with an iron staff. I thought that these were supposed to be Buddhist monks. It's Buddhism. No killing. What the fuck? Like, how could you not have a problem with that? Well, if you research the history of Shaolin Temple and its monks, you will find that there were indeed time periods when monks would go out in the battlefield to kill people. Sometimes even civilians. Yeah, there are events of that happening, and them, you know, going out and training with the military and fighting alongside the military for some emperor or some warlord or king or whatever, and then coming up with some, you know, official religious reason why they were able to do that. It has happened. They even have stories about this, you know, in their temple themselves. Like, yeah, we had this famous Shaolin hero who went out and fought these wars, and yeah, it's happened. So I really don't have a problem. We could say that the way they make the monk look is a little over the top, but again, it's a video game with a lot of other over the top looking characters with gigantic weapons and very ornate armor. So, or if not ornate armor, then definitely larger than life armor. So dressing the monk up a little bit like this, don't really have a problem with it. And plus the animations look really freaking cool. I think they captured, you know, staff fighting pretty well. I read somewhere that he was supposed to represent monkey kung fu, which if that's the case, why? Why? I don't see anything monkey like it. Is it because he has a stick? Is that the reason? I'm hoping that's not true, because if it is, but yeah, other than that, I don't see anything wrong. Oh, and by the way, this has nothing to do with the topic really. But can we please stop calling these things bow staffs? Please? Please. It's 2018. We can learn some better terminology. When you're calling something a bow staff, you're really just calling it a staff. Because bow means staff in Japanese. And not every freaking staff you see that a martial arts use needs the word bow. Because if you want to get specific enough to just call a staff, which is just a freaking wooden stick, well, I'm going to call it a bow because a martial artist uses it. Okay, then fine, then at least use the correct freaking language. Okay? It's not a bow if we're talking Chinese martial arts. So if you really want to use the term, use gun. That's more like it. And if you're not going to call it a gun, then call it what it is. A staff. Bow staff is just redundant and stupid. Pet peeve over. Moving on. Finally, we have the Nuxia, which is probably the character that I have the most nitpicks about, despite the fact that overall I don't really have a problem with. It's more of a personal thing. Nuxia basically means female warrior. Got no problem with that. There are examples of female warriors in Chinese martial arts history and war history in general. They're rare, but they exist. I also really like the fact that they hint at this character being a dancer. That it's possibly let you know the whole dancer by day, killer at night sort of thing. And that her movements are, you know, there's dance-like movements in there, and it's based on the fact that she is a dancer. I like that idea because I have, you know, read a couple of tales. I'm still not too sure if they're entirely true or not, but they seem feasible, of people having, you know, these female dancers as part of their entourage, but they're really bodyguards. And then if you happen to make the wrong move, then you get chopped up. And the fact that there is a culture in China of female dancers turning martial movements into dance movements, and there is a lot of crossover with that, which is part of the reason why certain Chinese forms really aren't usable for combat, but that's a video for a whole nother time. Yeah, I get it, and I like the fact that we got that little juxtaposition. You can glean a lot of things off of it. You can imagine a lot of things off of it, like, you know, it's just secretly, and she's supposed to be the assassin class anyway. So I can imagine someone, you know, an assassin looking like a dancer, doing all these beguiling movements and throat slit. Great concept. Love it. But why the fucking tiger hook swords? Why? Why? Now, this is a pet peeve of mine. I will admit this. You guys probably are thinking, what's wrong with those? They're cool freaking weapons. And yes, I admit, for a video game like this, and for the types of things you could probably do with those weapons, and some, you know, execution style stuff that you can do, you know, the finishers, yeah, in concept, great idea. But if you were trying to go for some historical significance, which is what the For Honor guys seem to be, it seems to be their claim to fame, their claim to fame. Jeez, can't talk right now. It seems to be their claim to fame, but if you're trying to come up with this concept of this female dancer slash assassin, like the dancing thing is a cover-up for her real lethal skills, and if you're trying to give this some historical significance to what female warriors were like in China, why not give her double Jian? That makes a lot more freaking sense. One, the double Jian happens to be something that a lot of female dancers loved using with their sword dance routines. And two, the double Jian is also culturally considered a female weapon set. I'm not making this up. Go and look it up if you don't believe me. The double swords happen to be something that they considered, yeah, that's what, you know, men use this weapon, females use this weapon. Yeah, really, you can use any weapon you want, I know. But that, culturally speaking, this was considered the woman's weapon set. And it's still evident today, because you may notice that a lot of times in competitions, whenever there's a double Jian set, 9 times out of 10, it's a woman doing it. And many, again, a lot of women's sword routines, dance routines in China, women was using the double sword. So if you're trying to come up with this assassin character who tricks you as a dancer and then she's secretly a killer, why not give her the weapon that is associated both with her status as a martial artist and, you know, as a dancer? Hello? And then there's the fact that the tiger hook swords were never used on the battlefield either. They're another late Qing Dynasty weapon. That, in fact, not only is it something that was never on the battlefield and is primarily a civilian's weapon, it's also a weapon that, quite frankly, is a bit controversial when it comes to Chinese martial arts history, because no one can really confirm if they were really used all that much in the time that they showed up. It's, honestly, this video has already gone on long enough, so honestly, I really think the tiger hook swords were like a kind of early period Chinese version of a tactical weapon. You know what I mean? Like, you know, these days you got these guys who, they always want to over-invent, you know, a particular thing. Like, they're trying to reinvent the wheel. So it's like, we got a knife, but we need to make it a cooler knife. So we're going to put, like, a skull-busting spike on the end, and then we're going to put all these freaking spikes on the handle, and then, or maybe you can put like a secret dart over here that you can hit with that in case you miss with your knife, and you can shoot them with it. Like, you know, the overly designed weapons. I'm really thinking that's what the tiger hook sword is, which could also explain why it was mostly on the civilian side of things rather than, you know, on the military side of things, because military guys usually want something that's practical. Tactical, yes, but also practical. Something that's simple, easy to use, and efficient. Not overly complicated. And the tiger hook swords, yeah, they're cool, but they're a bit over-designed. Can we at least admit that? I'm not saying they suck, but can we at least admit that they're a bit over-designed? I mean, which you got the length of a sword, it's double-edged like a sword, but you got the hook, see? You can use the hook to, like, catch them and then pull at them, or maybe even hack a finger off, or you know, mess up the wrist. And if you miss with that, if they get in close, well, you still got the blades here. You can slice them up close and stuff. And then you can even, like, tie them up and stab them with this part. See, it's got everything! I'm really thinking it was some guy's idea of a tactical weapon before the term was used. Why they gave it to her... Okay, I understand it's cool. Again, you can do a lot of crazy stuff with it. But I really doubt an assassin would use such an overly designed and fairly conspicuous weapon. Just saying. That's just me. This is my own personal pet peeve. But yeah, those weapons weren't... Yeah, they were never battlefield weapons, ever. Just, no, they weren't. At all. Get that out of your heads. Alright, so yeah, that's it. This video went longer than I expected it to, but that's my overall nitpicks about the Wulin. But overall, I do like the faction. I do like these classes. I think they're going to be pretty cool in the game. And it might actually get me to pick the game up. I don't know when. I got other stuff I'm getting through, but yeah, maybe. I'm actually, this has piqued my interest. I want to see how good these guys are. So, anyway, I hope this was entertaining for you guys. That's actually the main reason why I put this one out, just to entertain you guys and to give you something to laugh at, you know, and something a little goofy to make up for the fact that I missed other videos. I got some more, I got at least one serious one planned, one martial arts themed one that I need to get out, and also, it's hot as hell, isn't it? So I'm gonna sort of bring back a, you know, cooking on a budget video, sort of. I'm basically, it's really freaking hot. So I want to show you guys a drink that's very popular that people like getting at Thai restaurants. You know, the Thai teas. A very easy way to make it that won't cost you all that much money at all. You don't have to go to Amazon or somewhere and buy that special Thai tea to make it. It's a very simple way to make it. Won't cost you all that much. Tastes just as good, just as refreshing, and you can keep it in the freaking fridge. I'm going to put that one out soon. It's very easy to do. So, but that's what I got planned. Let me hurry up and edit this. Get out to you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch you guys later. But, sorry, that's my phone. But, yeah, again, sorry, my phone.